the January 21st, 2025 Village Board meeting to order. Trustee Heron, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Tracy.
President Coleman.
Here.
Trustee Michaels.
Here.
Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Lundy.
Here.
Trustee Heron.
Here.
Trustee Bonnie.
Here.
Trustee Shomers.
Is absent. Okay, we do have a quorum this evening. Nothing under public hearing. Under appointments and presentations, we have a few this evening. First up is the recommendation by myself to appoint Larry Jones as the chair of the Plan Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals for the Village of Sugar Grove. Larry has served on the commission since 2016. He was appointed by our former president, Mr. Michaels. And then he was reappointed in 2021 with a term ending in May of 26. He does have experience chairing a committee and has parliamentarian and understands Robert's Rule of Order. So I believe he's a good fit. I did ask the outgoing chair who he would put forward as a name from the existing commission, having worked with them for many years, and Larry was the name that he put forward. So I respect Herb and his opinion, and that is the name that is in front of you this evening to be a chair. It should also be noted that every Plan Commission member, whether you're the chair of the body or you are a Plan Commission member, they all have voting power. So it's not like the chair itself doesn't have voting rights. They all have voting rights. So he doesn't lose his right to vote, he just would lead the meeting. So that is the name I put in front of you. I ask for a motion to approve Larry Jones as the chair for the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Will his term end
Yes.
then in May of 26 and he'll have to be someone will have to be reappointed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He'll either be reappointed or replaced at that time, but yes.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing none, roll call please, Tracy.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Trustee White motion?
Yeah, Trustee White motion and Heron second, I think.
Aye.
Bonnie second, sorry.
Trustee White.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Heron.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Okay, up next is the recommendation to have a vice chair. So this hasn't been done in the past, we want to ensure that we have that. In the absence of the chair of the commission, the chair of the commission can appoint someone to run a meeting. In the absence of a chair, which just happened, the president appoints somebody to run the meeting. So I did appoint Tony Special to run our last committee meeting, Plan Commission meeting, because Irv's resignation was effective December 31. So that's how that worked out. So Tony Special has been appointed to the board after filling a vacancy. He filled the void for, I think it was Jim Eckert.
Jim Eckert.
When he resigned, and Tony's term is up in 28.
Correct.
Is up in 28. He did serve, just from I think you all know his professional background, being a public works director, but he also did serve on the Kane County Council of Mayor's Transportation Committee and was the chair of that committee for over 12 years. So he absolutely has experience in chairing a meeting. So that is the name in front of you this evening, so I would ask for a motion to approve Tony Special as the vice chair of the Plan Commission.
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first out of Trustee Heron, second out of Trustee Bonnie. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Trustee Heron.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee White.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye. Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Okay, and the vacancy that was created by Irv, he was reappointed in 20...
Irv was most recently appointed in 2023. His term is to end, his slot ends on 5/1/2028.
Okay, so similarly, he was 23 to 28, so that is to fill this term. The name I'm putting in front of you this evening is Rachel Rockwell, to fill the spot left by Irv. As many of you know, she's been a longtime resident and advocate for the community. She served on various committees and her HOA board. She's currently on our enhancement committee, and she's attended many Plan Commission meetings, planning, comp plan meetings, and like I said, is truly an advocate. for this community. So that's the name I put in front of you tonight. I believe that she'll bring a different perspective to the board and bring out some different conversation. She very much cares about the aesthetic of buildings, open space, green space, community space. She understands the need to diversify tax base. So she will also be put through some training on the behalf of the village. So she'll understand a little bit more clearly what her responsibility is and what her role should be. But that's of any new commissioner, they will go through that process. So that is the name that is in front of you this evening, is Rachel Rockwell. So I would ask for a motion to approve Rachel Rockwell and fill the vacancy of for the Plan Commission.
Will Rachel have to step off the beautification committee?
I'm asking for the motion, then we'll discuss if that's okay. I make the motion to approve Rachel Rockwell.
As stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a first out of trustee Bonnie and a second out of trustee White. Discussion, Mr. Michaels, as far as the enhancement committee, she's not required to step down. We've had several folks in the past. We've had John Gutendorf serve on the Fire Protection Board while serving as a Plan Commission member. She is a volunteer. Everybody that has asked to be part of the enhancement committee was accepted. No one was denied. There was an application process.
Enhancement committee reviewing landscaping and the subdivision landscaping, so then she would have 2 votes on the subdivisions.
They don't have, the enhancement committee is not a voting body. They're a recommendation to our administrator is how we
Just
set it
like
up. So
the
he would
plan
bring
commission
it, he would bring it forward to all of us, and the board has an ultimate say in what happens with anything enhancement related. They don't have money to burn without approval of the board.
So how is the enhancement committee related to what goes on in the plan commission?
They're not.
I would say they're not related. In my opinion, the enhancement committee meets once a month. When there is a new development or something coming forward, we will have them take a look at it to then give advice to myself, and President Conan attends those meetings a lot, to both of us about it to try to make it better, but it is not official recommendation body. It was very specifically laid out that they would not be either recommending or any part of approval. When they were set up, it's just purely advisory to myself. So they will look at some of these, but they also look at very different parts of a development than the Plan Commission would look at, specifically in our code and in the state law. They look at very different elements, whether it be, they would be more focused on signage, building elevations. They've given input on landscaping, but then the Plan Commission has a different role. And the Plan Commission's recommendation then can actually, in some cases, trigger a 3/5 vote from the village board. They also have other duties in state law and in village code that they can abide by. The enhancement committee is not in code, it's just purely advisory.
When in the process does the enhancement committee get involved with the project?
So we, as an example, it's not as official in the process, and it's still a fairly new committee. But for example, after the village board had the concept for Lennar presented to them, we brought that concept into the enhancement committee and showed it to them, and then asked for some feedback and kind of discussed the development in the room. And we've kind of taken that as, if there's an ongoing development or something that's been presented to the board or is upcoming and is publicly available, then we have taken it to that commission as well and sought feedback in the meeting that we have with them.
Was this position advertised anywhere?
It was not. I had applications from the past, and it should be noted that I asked Rachel Rockwell to serve based on the amount of advocacy she has done for the village and her involvement over the years. As you know, she did run for village trustee and did get solicit more than 400 votes for her position as a write-in. So the community does support her as an individual in this community, and her efforts are there. So the qualifications to be on the Plan Commission are simply put that you need to be a resident of the village of Sugar Grove. She is a resident of Sugar Grove. The other thing I look at is the diversity of the commission itself. Are we providing different folks from different aspects and walks of life to be able to come and provide their input based on the people that they interact with, but also their own food for thought. So she absolutely brings that. She's very clear on the amount of, we would likely disagree in some aspects of development, but she very much cares about the things that I think we all care about, which is the same as our comp plan, which is, like I said earlier, the open space that is needed, the trail systems that we want, connection with everyone, places for our community to live with, work, play, all of those things. She'll advocate well for development and understanding that our community needs it, but she's gonna hold a very firm line on the aesthetics of that. So that's gonna be the trick bag, I think, for her at times.
And I did just want to note that the commission positions are by state statute an appointment by the village president with the advice and consent of the village board. So there's no requirement that positions be advertised or anything in that manner.
I would just ask if this is approved, that it's kind of keep an eye on it and make sure that there isn't any overlapping influence, I guess.
I would agree with that. And if there is, then, we would ask her to leave a position that she would choosing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I understand your philosophy about different walks of life. I also think we need to diversify where people live within the village on the planning commission, and with Larry Jones and Tony and Rachel and John all being in Bliss Woods, Walnut Woods area. There's a lot of people from the north end, and I think we need to look at the existing part of town, Settlers Ridge, with the development that could go on there. So I encourage you to advertise in the future.
Now, the last time you brought that up at my last appointment, you raised that as the same concern, that John Coya was from Twinstone, and I corrected you and said he's from Mountain Point, and then you still voted him down.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I understand you're diversifying the
Yep.
community, but we also have to look at the residents that are serving and what they bring to the table in collaboration with the other folks at the board. So that's, we do not have a position. We have a lot of different professional backgrounds that are on that board. And I'm not going to be one to tell the community that you need to have a professional background to serve this community. If you're an advocate for this community and you're working hard and you have time and you're going to put in the effort to it, that in a lot of ways is more valuable than somebody who has a professional background that can't put the effort in, the time in, needed to serve on that committee. So
No, I think Rachel will make a good addition to the planning commission.
thank you for that. So
Speaking of professional background, the email that came through earlier today, I think it was sent, did you get that email from Bill Clish? Day 2, that one? Can you just answer that question on there? I think it was referenced, pretty much what the qualifications were and why she didn't have any, it looks like, and then the 5-year term and the remaining of herbs. Can you just answer that? Because that was specifically requested to be discussed tonight, so can we just touch that?
Absolutely. So I spoke to Mr. Klitsch on the phone late this afternoon. He asked me several questions about the position and the appointment itself. I let him know that according to village code, when somebody's appointed into a vacant slot, they're appointed in and the term ends with the existing term end of the person that they're appointed to by village code, that the terms are for 5 years. So this one specifically, while she's not going to be the chair, she is going into Irv's slot. Irv's slot is set to end on 5/1 of 2028. So that's when, if Rachel is approved, that's when her term would end. As Laura mentioned, there are no, both in our village code and in state law, there are no specific requirements for someone other than being a resident, as President Conan mentioned, to be on the Plan Commission. And without further, review of state law, I don't know if there are restrictions we can even put on Plan Commissioners and who can fill it and who can't.
No, you can't implement different, there's a non-formal agreement, you can't put in different parameters. You could play with how you want your application process as a matter of policy, but as far as making different requirements, that would be superseding state statute. You're not wrong.
So our code, and that lines up with she fills all the requirements or needs that there would be for us in state law.
Okay.
I actually think Rachel will be a good asset because I certainly don't agree with her all the time. I do think that she brings discussion about items out, which is, I think, very important with the Plan Commission and any commission where you discuss all viewpoints. So, I do appreciate, I've worked with her a little bit with Mario on some things, so I know she's very into the beautification and the green spaces, and I think that's an important view to have on the Plan Commission.
thank you, Heidi. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. I hope you mark the first and the second because I failed to write it down. Thank you. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Okay, up next, airport report. Tony.
No report tonight.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions for Tony? Okay, hearing none, we'll close that. Up next, under public comment on scheduled action items. This evening, we have, under consent agenda A, approval of the January 7th, 2025 board meeting minutes. Item B, approval of the January 21st, 2025 vouchers. C, approval of the December 2024 treasurer's report. Item D, an ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 18, outdoor illumination to adopt dark sky regulations. Also, under general business this evening, we have item A, resolution approving a professional services agreement for architectural services for the police department. Item B, a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with HR Green for professional preliminary and design engineering services for Wheeler Road resurfacing S2P project. Item C, the resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with HR Green for the professional preliminary and design engineering services for Wheeler Road resurfacing S2P project. Item D, a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with Lane Christensen Company, Inc. for Phase 2 Well 11 repairs. Item E, the resolution approving an agreement with Lauterbach and Amen for actuarial services fiscal year 25 through 28. And item F, approval of a non-binding public policy question advisory referendum fact sheet. Those are all the items that we have that we're taking action on this evening. So if we have any public comments at this time, this would be the time for that. Yes, Jaden Chad is up first.
Good evening. The last time there was a fact sheet that went around, you might remember that the village board requested that that be pulled from the internet. I like the idea that it was brought to the village board for discussion before going out there. The one critique I would have about the process would be maybe the next time that a fact sheet is proposed or thought of, maybe the village board discuss it first, because I see there is attorney fees spent on this, so if the village board doesn't want it, it's kind of wasted money. And then regarding the fact sheet itself, all the way at the bottom, it says, after a whole bunch of different bullet points, the village does not endorse or oppose the public policy question. But yet you also say that what legal options does the village have to reverse the Grove development? And it's just listed there that the village could be subject to litigation. But I think it's important that people understand that it's advisory. This isn't telling the village board to do anything. There is no action that the village board is going to be taking. So by saying that the village could be subject to litigation is in fact trying to influence the voters. You're trying to influence the election. As a voter myself, I think it's up to every individual person to do their research on all the different referendum questions, the candidates for village. I don't think it's the place for the village board or the village themselves to put out a fact sheet on something that is on the ballot itself. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comments at this time? Going once? Going twice? 3 times, we'll close that section. Up next, we have consent agenda. Any requests to remove an item? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as previously stated?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a first out of trustee White and a second out of trustee Heron. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Motion carries 5-0. Up next, general business, resolution approving the professional services agreement for the architectural services for the police department. Chief Rollins.
Good evening. At the last village board meeting, Gordon and Clark presented along with staff concept plans for the renovation and expansion of the police department. Village board heard that discussion and provided direction for Gordon, Clark, and the village to work out an agreement. This is still subject to attorney review, But attached to your packet is the agreement for Gordon and Clark. That's pretty standard from our side.
So moved, subject to attorney review.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion?
I will say that I like the fact that there's construction management included in that. That's very important.
We're not gonna bid this out to other general contractors to do work.
Yes, the entire project will be bid out. The construction management, and this is strictly A&E and construction management. Corgan Clark doesn't employ builders or anybody like that, so what they will do is they will go on our behalf and issue the bids, bring those bids back for approval by the village board, and then we'll move forward with construction. This is just for professional services, soft costs.
Okay. And what's the general conditions, general requirements estimate? 268,000.
At the bottom of page
Mhm.
10 of
Bottom.
your packet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was part of, I apologize, this was part of their overall budget costs, and and I'm not sure what staff you
Not
know.
heard of that phrase before.
So I don't, it's part, yeah, I'm not familiar with the phrase off the top of my head, but it is part of the construction management, obviously.
All right.
No, go ahead, Matt.
I asked that question prior, sorry, I wasn't at the last meeting. General conditions and requirements are costs that will need to build the project for construction, on-site supervision, dumpsters, porta potties, general cleanup, temporary protection, and other miscellaneous items was the response that I received from Brian at Corrigan Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, it says for on-site construction supervision, dumpsters, porta potties, general cleanup, temporary protection, and other miscellaneous items.
Is that a fixed cost of 268 or?
It's 6%, it says.
High for those responsibilities. And is Gordon Clark going to have someone on site? I would think the general contractor would have somebody on site once contractor is selected, but not necessarily Gordon Clark.
They're gonna do the construction management, so they.
Yeah, they're gonna go to the site
So
and they're gonna make
project
sure it's
manager.
built according to the plans. And I'm assuming, would they be reviewing shop drawings and such?
Yes, they would have somebody on, they commonly, when they, for construction management hire, they would have somebody on site. And sometimes general conditions is charged on a monthly fixed number, or sometimes it's charged as a total amount, as a percentage cost of the project itself. For example, Elburn, on their police station, city hall remodel, I was just pulling up my notes, I apologize. They're going off of a $20,000 a month general conditions number. For us in this one, with the size of it and it being a remodel, a complete remodel, it was quoted as a percentage fee, and for the other numbers that we had looked at for construction management and A&E, it came in line with other numbers that I'd seen, other percentages and other totals.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to say, can't believe we're here, Chief. This has been a long time coming. I know that been promised for a long time that something will happen. And I just want to thank the staff for working so hard at doing this. I don't think people understand how important it is to have a functioning police department for your police officers. it's a domino effect, and it starts within these walls here. I'd say 4, but I'm not really sure how many. These walls, and it really does transfer to your officers' morale and their loyalty to our residents here. And when they go out and they're happier and they have better things here within this police department, it truly does transfer outside to our residents. So I just want to thank the staff for all the work that they've done on this to get it to this point. I want to thank the board for working with the staff and making it. And I want to thank President Conan. I think your ability to work with staff and your ability to find the funds so we do not have to go to referendum on this is, there's no words to explain how thankful our residents should be for this. So when it comes to public safety, it's always been something that's super important to me, of course. So I'm extremely happy that we're here at this point, and I can't wait to see the finished project. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I just want to, this is a board effort, and when we look at annual surpluses and opportunities to spend more with revenues that we have, it's been this board's policy to save, save, save. So we've been working to that end, and it started with the village hall, but getting in here and looking at the needs of the police department, it really took priority. And so we have been saving toward that village hall, and we will use those funds to make the police department happen first, because that's what you do. You react to what our needs are. So this is a board effort, a village effort, a staff effort, and we just did recently. We're working on a video for our residents to see what the conditions are of our police department, and that's forthcoming for you all. But I haven't been in there since my daughter was in fifth. My oldest daughter was in 5th grade, and we did a Girl Scout troop on-site visit. I kind of stay away from the secure side of the building and let the police do their job. And it's really sad. It's really sad that the state of affairs and the liability that potentially lies over there. And you've been making do for as long as you have. And yes, we've been making some strides over the last couple of years, securing a lot. And Trustee Bonnie brought that forward, and we were able to fund that. So we've been making some changes. But this one is the most exciting, I think, for me, is to see, and your officers are, I think they're kind of the mindset of we'll believe it when we see it, and they're truly not trying to get their hopes up, but we're right here, and we're ready to vote on this and move this project forward, and this is really safety for our community, safety for our officers, and safety for our residents. That's what it's really all about. So thank you for doing a great job in leading the police department in this effort, Chief, and I'm happy to sit on this board as we're pushing this project forward.
And one quick mention, if you don't mind, about
Not
the
at all.
construction management and also the general construction, having them on site. We don't have a building department at the village, and we rely a lot on Brad and a lot on outside parties to do repairs on our buildings. Having them on site, they will be an advocate for us. Courtney Clark will be, and they'll be reporting back to myself and Chief, but we'll be involved. And Heidi can speak this probably a lot better than I can, but we don't have that person there that's checking to make sure when work is done on a daily basis by the different contractors that are coming in and out of the building, that it's being done appropriately and it's being done in accordance with the plans. I've gone through similar projects in the past, both with and without a construction manager on site, and because of the way that we're staffed, I would highly recommend that we do it. I've been at counties before that had building departments with several professionals involved, and larger engineering departments where we can afford to have people there more often. In our circumstance and our size, I think that it's definitely a need to have somebody here representing us on a daily basis.
This is what I do a lot at my job, and it's very important because it's in their best interest for them to do it because it's their stamp and they want it built right. And you are their client. The contractor is not their client. And they're gonna make sure it is built right, that the contractor's not gonna cheap out on vapor barriers, important things. I mean, they get down to the nitty gritty, and the little piece of felt that stops the cabinet door. It gets down to that level of construction administration, construction management that a lot of times that they'll do. But they want to make sure everything is done right. And I'm assuming they're going to be putting together a big spec book, or at least a sheet spec. So they're going to make sure everything is supposed to be, is built the way it's supposed to be. So it's very important that we have that aspect in the contract.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve, item, you already said it, you already made a motion, sorry.
Thought so.
You made a motion, Jamie made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Bonnie, second. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Aaron?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Okay, up next, we have the item B, the resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with HR Green for professional preliminary and design engineering services for Wheeler Road. Yeah, sorry, Brad.
Yes, good evening. Actually, both of these projects are identical, just different areas through the Kane Kendall Council of Mayors. There is, once again, a surplus of money available for transportation projects. So if we do a little legwork up front, we can get the engineering done, and it's likely we'll get approved like we did last year with our 2 roads for Merrill and Wheeler. So I got proposals from HR Green here, they're in front of you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, how much extra, just out of curiosity, as you, I know you attend those meetings, what are we talking about for extra funds?
Well, it varies, and they've been approving some change orders on some of the projects, so I really can't tell you that.
But it also,
It's
a
usually
lot of
different.
times, to your point, and the reason why we're doing this engineering is they award projects and they're not necessarily ready to go, and then those monies basically come back into the pool to be reallocated.
Yes.
So this is us taking advantage, or at least positioning ourselves in the best light for additional money.
Yes.
Make
Thanks,
a
Brad.
motion to approve the Wheeler Road STP contract for
Thank you.
engineering services.
Oops.
Second.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Trustee, I have a first out of trustee White, and a second out of trustee Aaron. Roll call, please.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Aaron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Item C,
Make a motion
Just
to
to
approve.
I have a motion to approve item C as previously stated.
Second.
Okay, I have a first out of trustee White, second out of trustee Aaron. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Aaron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Up next, the item D, the resolution for authorizing an agreement with Wayne Christensen for Phase 2 well 11 repairs. Brad.
As you recall, probably November 19th, we received permission to pull well 11 to do an inspection due to it failing. So since then, we've got the inspection report from Lane Western in front of you that includes, this proposal, I should note, it includes the original $50,000 that we approved to remove it.
Okay.
So we're looking for basically tonight the $340,000. Upon inspection of the pump, it was in pretty bad shape. It could be repaired, but the longevity of it is unknown if you do the repairs. So it's highly recommended that we replace the pump, and then the motor had failed as well. So the proposal includes, fixing some of the pipe, televising the well, bailing any sand out of it. It's pretty standard stuff for these deep wells. And then there was a little bit of electrolysis on the pump, actually quite a bit. So Lane has recently started installing sacrificial zinc anodes on the pumps to help the pumps live longer for corrosion.
Okay, just for clarification purposes, Laura, this has 390,000, of which Brad was saying item number 1, and is that correct, Brad? The $50,000 is part of this bid, so the village board should be approving the difference, which would be 340. We approved $50,000 at the last meeting to move forward with that line item.
Right. At the time of this proposal, I don't think we'd paid the initial one yet, so that's why it's included in this.
Okay, I just want clarifications on the motion as to what we're approving in addition to. So we approved this already.
So I think you'd be approving the excess and I would just include the complete amount of the project.
Okay. Okay.
I would make a motion to approve it at $390,552 with a credit for what's already been paid.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
First out of trustee White, second out of trustee Aaron. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Aaron?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Appreciate it. Up next, item E, a resolution approving an agreement with Water Valley Payment for actuarial services for fiscal year 2025 through 2028. Matt?
So every year the village has to have an actuarial study done for, it's called OPEB, which is other post-employment benefits. It's basically for health or medical or anything that the village is potentially going to owe an employee at retirement. This is an actuarial study that is required to do a full study every other year. So the proposal in front of you, the 3370 is the full year. And then the smaller amount is the in-between years where they don't have to do a full as long as there's no major changes. Our last contract expired, which was a 4-year contract, so there's another four year in front of us. It is a 15% increase from the last time. I will say, that obviously, 4 years ago when we got that proposal, things were a lot different for the market, but also when we went out for audit this year, for the police Benjamin, we saw a 15% increase as well in their services over a 3-year contract as well. Individual years are only 4% increases. It's just the initial from the last one to this one is the 15%, which equates to $440.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for staff? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve item E, the resolution as previously stated?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
First out of trustee Heron, second out of trustee Bonnie. Roll call, please, Lucy.
Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Motion carries 5-0. Up next, we have item F, approval of a non-binding public policy question advisory referendum fact sheet. I think I'm going to leave with Laura.
Yep. Okay, so as everyone knows, on the agenda tonight, for board's review and discussion and vote, is a fact sheet that includes the non-binding public policy question. Before the village board begins its discussion this evening, I did want to remind everybody that the village cannot take any position on this issue. It can, however, disseminate factual information and facts. So during tonight's discussion, I just want to remind board members again that you need to abide by these principles and need to avoid making any statements that could be construed either as advocacy, that provides an opinion that's speculative, or that's conclusory in nature. So I'm happy to take any questions. Otherwise, I believe that this is just being brought forward to get the board's consensus that it can be posted. And I don't know if you want to add anything.
Nope, that's fine. And it's my understanding that you were asked, Scott, by multiple board members about this. Maybe not in public meeting, but you were asked about this.
I was asked by both board members and I was also asked by staff questions about this and how we're supposed to respond when questioned by the public, what we can talk about, what we can't talk about, and seeking further clarification. It is also common practice for municipalities when there is a referendum, or other bodies, whether it be the state of Illinois, a county, a township, a library, a school district, when there is a referendum up, whether it be advisory or binding, to put up a fact sheet to provide information to the potential voters and other residents or citizens of the district or village. So in the spirit of that, we wanted to provide information, factual information, as Laura had mentioned specifically, and then have this. Wanted to address about the attorney's fees, because of the fact that this is something where we need to be extremely factual. We wanted to cite statute and make sure that everything we had included in the fact sheet was not going to cause us any potential issues, that why this needed to be reviewed before it was put in a packet or brought forward for discussion, to do our best to avoid any type of litigation that could come before the village. So that would be the reason why that staff involved, both Laura and also our TIF attorney, Kathy Orr, in discussions about creation of this for those reasons. And I'm happy to answer questions about what was included and the process that we went through.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions?
So if the school district puts forth a referendum, are they allowed to advocate for it? Is it just municipalities that can?
No, any referendum should be factual information only.
So the fact that the school board is going around doing informational meetings is
I
strictly factual?
I don't know specifically what the school board is doing or not doing, but it should be factual data that's being disseminated.
Okay.
You can speak about what the effects of something are. So if something passes, you are able to cite to factual, this is what will happen, but you can't, advocate one way or another.
Well, this is why the library had a committee, because the committee could advocate for and the library didn't really run that referendum when they did it, the committee did.
But I don't want to speak to what other taxing.
Okay, that's fine, Laura. I'm a clarification point, I guess, for,
I'm just gonna make the motion
you're making a motion to
to
approve.
accept, to approve the referendum fact sheet as is.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any other discussion for Laura? Hearing none. Motion out of trustee Bonnie, first out of trustee Bonnie, second out of trustee White. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy? Trustee Heron?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries 5-0. Okay, up next, public comment for any and all items. We have no discussion items on our agenda this evening. So if anybody would like to make a public comment, we have 3 minutes.
I just wanted to point out on that referendum question, the last few words that will appear in front of the voters is all necessary and lawful measures. So if the next village board, whoever's on it, if, say for instance, this policy question is approved with a majority, if there's no lawful measures, then they can't do it. It is what it is. So for you to say the village could be subject to litigation, I think that's influencing the voters to vote no. And I am of the opinion that some of you may be afraid that it's going to be approved by the voters, because we've heard from some of you that no, the village residents are okay with it. It's just Blackberry Township people. So I think by approving this and the language and the wording is influencing the voters. I just want to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, going once, going twice. 3 times, we'll close that portion. Nothing under discussion this evening. Staff reports. Scott.
Yep, my staff report is in your packet, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Scott? I do, in particular, regarding the IGA with Kingland Schools. I did watch their last, I watched it live, their board meeting last week, I think it was, last Monday. And one of the things that I heard in regards to the IGA was their school board, some board members at the public meeting advocating for suing the village in regards to the creation of TIF number 3. I don't know what the full consensus has been, because I believe they went into executive session, so I don't know what the rest of the body, or how the rest of the body feels. But I know that you've been working with Kathy and their attorney, Ken Flory. Can you provide an update? Did you get an update from the superintendent, or do you have an update from Ken Flory on that position? And I also want to state for the record that we did not ask for an IGA with the school board. I think that was something that was brought up at the school board meeting. The school board asked the village of Sugar Grove for an intergovernmental agreement. It was not reversed. I think that's important to know. We're not trying to force the hand of the school board. I believe that the action that was taken by this body was taken in the best interest of all taxing bodies, not just the school. But if you have any update you could provide, that would be helpful.
Yep, happy to do so. So yeah, that is correct. We met with the school board, with school administration and their attorney, the village staff did, and they brought up the idea of an IGA at that time. Then later we were sent a draft IGA from the school district. We have since reviewed it and began negotiating after the TIF was approved and created. Didn't want to spend village dollars until that was accomplished, and they were fine with that process as well. So then we have been negotiating back and forth with them. They discussed it at they've discussed it at a couple of their meetings. The preference from the village is for the school board to adopt it first and then send it to the village so that we can adopt it after that. And they have discussed it multiple times. They have not placed it on their agenda yet for approval. My understanding is that the earliest it will be placed on for approval will be in February. They have a budget that they're going through that is taking a considerable amount of time that they want to focus on first, but that is something that will be coming once they've taken action at the school board If they do approve it, it'll come back to this body later for approval, and that's where it sits as of today. And I am in contact with our attorneys, with Superintendent Rowling and Ken Flory, as needed as we're moving through this process.
Okay, a little more clarification just from my point of view, and if you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to ask him. Their agreement that they submitted to you all, or at least where you are today, it memorializes what the village board did. Is that correct?
The current version that was discussed, and it was presented at the school board meeting, it memorializes the 10%, the fees that are in the annexation agreement, and several things. Mostly what they're concerned about is funding and the fees, and it does in large part, it memorializes what is in the annexation and the redevelopment agreement.
And the last thing, because this was, I want to bring it up because I was unclear. And I think some of us might be unclear on this one too, which is when the village board did vote and pass TIF 3, it was under the assumption and understanding that not only the 10% would get surplused, but that tuition payments specifically per state statute those children would be paid and the school district would be paid.
Per student.
Per student.
Per household. So a house
With a
that
cap.
has 7 kids
Yeah.
per student for what the school district says, has posted to the state that they're required to pay, or the cost of educating a student.
Yes.
And not a net. So if one kid moves into this TIF 3 and one kid moves out of the school district in Maple Park, they don't get the money.
So that is a gray area from my understanding, without getting into details about the net part of it. One of the things they're trying to shore up in the IGA is to get rid of the word net, so that it would not be net, it would indeed be, as was discussed at the board meetings, that it would be for the students added in the district up to the cap that they would be paid, which is why I believed, as it was discussed in the board meetings by the board members, that is something that the board, while you'd still have to approve it, obviously, that is something that you would be amenable to. And that is just something that is, from my understanding, the net and how that is done is gray, as many things are with TIFs, and they had asked to have that codified, and so I said that that's something definitely that, I felt that the direction that I was given would follow.
I felt that was our intent.
I felt that was our intent as
Not
well.
a net. And if that's within our control, I would support, advocate for it.
Agreed.
The best way to do that is to pass the IGA. And then also would also further ensure that the RDA and the payments that are in the annexation agreement, while those are very, very difficult to change, they would be codified not only in the agreements that were passed on September 10th, but they would be codified in the IGA with the school board. So I think it is in the best interest of this board and the school board to do that. But again, they apparently aren't all ready to pass it. I don't know the inner workings of their discussions that they might have had, but that's where it sits today.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
thank you. So one of the things that some people have been saying is that although it's a 23-year TIF, it can be extended. Legislature can extend it. If we enter into an IGA with the school board, does that also state that it's for a certain term, which would not allow us to extend it?
So that was also brought up by the school board, and by law, the TIF cannot be extended without the permission of every single taxing body that's in the TIF. So they have to already sign off on an extension.
Okay.
So typically, that's not included in an IGA about a TIF because they already have that by right.
They already have that power.
Now, there are commonly IGAs done at extension because the other taxing bodies have more influence at that time. So there are different IGAs that are typically done when an extension is made. But that in this case, they've not asked to have that in there because they already have that right by state law.
The other thing I just want to clarify for the record that I heard one of the board members say at the meeting was, what does the school get out of it? What is in it for us? Regarding the 10% surplus. The 10% surplus goes to all taxing bodies. It goes back to the county, and the county disperses that dollars based on whatever your property tax rate is, and whether you're, part and parcel too. So the townships and those split. So it depends on that. But I heard was that the 10%, the additional 10% holdback was like village dollars to do whatever the village wanted to do, which is not true. While there is an additional 10% being held back, it is only to be used for expenditures within the TIF district by approval of this body. So this body would have to approve expending any dollars out of that 10% only within the TIF district. If there's nothing to spend the 10% holdback on, it's not our money. It goes to the county as a surplus. The body would still have to surplus
We
those
declare it
dollars.
as surplus.
You declare that money as a surplus, and then that goes out to everyone. So it's not just our, personal dollars to do what we want to. We still have the fiduciary responsibility to manage that fund appropriately, and all that money has to go back the same way that we've done with other TIF districts through a surplus.
Yeah, so the easiest way, if you don't mind, just
No, I don't mind.
clarification, to explain the 10% is the 10% would be treated in the way that we treat now terminated TIF 1 and TIF 2. On an annual basis, there will be a report done, there'll be amount of money in the TIF that's sitting there, and then the board will have to decide what they're budgeting, whether they want to do another IGA with that 10%, whether they want to do some additional work on a project that is TIF eligible expense, or whether they would want to surplus the money. We would treat that 10% exactly like we do in TIF 2. We don't have any open IGAs in TIF 2 that we're currently paying on a note or something like we would with the one and potentially in the 88 and 47 TIF. So it would be treated exactly like that and discussed on an annual basis and reported back to all the taxing bodies during the GRP.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Does anybody have any questions on where the status of that is? Okay.
Also, they had mentioned filing litigation. Are they suing the village, or in that case, would they be suing Grove?
So they would be entering into, but I know for sure exactly who's named, I'm not 100%, but what would happen is, and Laura can jump in if I say this wrong, but we have a mutual agreement clause in to defend certain litigation in the annexation agreement between us and the developer, including the creation of the TIF. They would challenge in court the eligibility of the TIF to exist. And we would, by the annexation agreement, we'd be obligated to defend it mutually with Sugar Grove LLC, Crown Community Development. However, Crown pays the legal bills and reimburses us for third-party costs. So we would get reimbursed for like staff time or other time spent, like if we get deposed and different things that staff has to put in, but third-party legal fees would be paid for by the developer.
Yeah, and again, those cooperation clauses are common. I mean, obviously, when you're entering into any agreement, you're entering into it in good faith, so that's what it's saying. We're not gonna enter into an agreement, and then if somebody sues me all day, say, yep, like, that wasn't, that was wrong, but we entered into it anyway. So when you're entering into agreement, you typically do have those cooperation clauses that say both parties are agreeing that we did this correctly and that we're gonna work together to defend it.
And that was in the prior annexation agreement we had with the Crown as well, wasn't it?
It's in nearly every annexation agreement you'll see.
And the other reason we want that in there, not just because it's typically done, is so that we're not on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees if there is a drag out, all the way to the state Supreme Court litigation about the creation of the TIF. That's just not something we can afford. I don't, Matt, over there looking at me, that's not something that we could ever bring on or a risk we want to bring to the village into our budget. So that's why typically we include that in there. The developers have deeper pockets and they're the one asking for it. So that's why we would include that in there, as well as to protect our finances in the future.
Thank you for updates. I appreciate it. Anything else for Scott on his staff report? Matt?
Just an update on the solar tax incentive. We have a kickoff call today. That process, according to IRS, they give themselves until June 30th to give you your payment, regardless of when you file on it. But they've been seeing anywhere from 45 to 60 days. So we have started that process. We have to get into the IRS portal as a government agency, since we don't normally have to file a tax return. So once we get in, they said that's a 4 to 6 week process for the IRS to get you approved into the portal. In that time, by April 1st, the Tri-Merit company who's doing all the background data and research said that they'll have the packet ready for submittal by April 1st. So that's kind of our timeline right now. So we're hoping if they have the packet ready for Sickage to file the 990T, we will potentially get it. I mean, they're required by June 30th, but Could be before that if they process that quicker, so.
Thanks, Matt. Any questions for Matt? Okay, I just want to draw attention to whether or not, you paid close attention to it. The Fax Metro update on his meeting here, it's a clarification point, so the board's aware. Obviously, he put in here, he attended with me, and Scott Keppel was there, Brad was there, and Ryan Schreiber at this meeting with Fox Metro. Fox Metro, and maybe, well, you're not dealing with an active annexation agreement, I was gonna say development of the village, but Fox Metro has raised their IP fees for the village of 29%. They've gone from $4,700 an acre to just over $6,000 an acre, plus the annexation fee of $22,000. I'm gonna get around 424 or 2375 is the current fee. It's gone up about $50 an acre. What that means to Lennar is about $200,000 more in fees. What that means to Crown is $1 million more in fees, and without clear understanding as to where those fees are generated. So we wanted a meeting with Fox Metro because those fees prohibit growth in a lot of areas. They're cost prohibitive. While we can't absorb that as a village, we can't help with our fees to offset Fox Metro's fees. We are significantly higher than communities that are in closer proximity, so that have a longer run to the treatment facility in Aurora. So, and we're the only community that's gone up by that percentage. I'm gonna question you off the cuff, Matt, because I know you ran those numbers for me, but what was the next highest percentage increase for another municipality?
Every other one of their tracks, or however they break up, was only 2.27.
2.27.
The east side of Sugar Grove's track was 29.05%.
And they changed the districts between west and east. They changed the line. So they brought the line farther west to incorporate, and then they didn't really do any engineering with this. They have two estimates that were so far apart that they cost averaged them. Instead of going, well, you guys are so far apart, we need a more accurate number to generate our fees. So we're working, I want you to know that there is a huge issue here with Fox Metro, that we are working with them. We've had a good meeting. We're hoping to have another one next week. We want a better understanding of where they're coming from. We have a different position as to, we want it to be fair and equitable. We should pay our fair share. Right now, the way the information is coming forward, it doesn't seem like there was enough due diligence given to the numbers that they then passed on to us. So that's what we're working on, but right now they're really extremely high, and it's gonna affect our community in general. So as we move forward, it's another one of those hurdles that we face in economic development. So I know Michael's well aware of it, but we will try our best to bring you back some information regarding that one as we work through that. Any questions for Matt? Okay, thank you all. Danny is not here, but if you have any questions regarding her board report, Scott can likely answer. Anything? Chief Rollins.
Just a couple of things that will be coming forward, probably more in spring time versus today's weather. But some new laws went into effect January 1st, and it has to do with, we're starting to see a lot more younger age children riding electric vehicles, electric scooters, electric bikes. And the state of Illinois has passed and enacted legislation with age restrictions and how fast these can go now. So we're seeing 25 to 30 mile per hour electric bikes that are out there and put in the hands of someone that might be 8 to 12. But it's probably not the safest thing. So we'll be looking at in the near future some local ordinances that we can put in place. Obviously, you can't cite anyone under the age of 16 unless it's for another offense, so it has to come into play, but it's more about compliance. So, other than that, we've turned this room into an instructor. As you can see the pictures that are in your packet, less than lethal force that took place here last week. So just we're and thank you for the wonderful comments and the ability for us to move forward, because this space obviously is needed, and we're incorporating a training area in the new building, so it's going to be huge. So we're not having to dismantle the space itself. So thank you again for the support of the renovation and remodel.
Yeah, and to Chief's point on that, everything that I saw in Yorkville, all the tables in the training room they're on wheels for quick assembly or disassembly and move it to a storage room. Chief had to take this entire dais down, move it out of the way so that they could set up. So it takes a lot of time and effort. So I look forward to that new training room for you. Thanks, Chief. Any questions for Pat? Okay, thank you. Brad?
I have nothing to add to my report.
Okay.
Question, Brad. This, the I-47 demolition, is that just like things that are,
Just the two homes, the one that's north of Jericho on the west side, the old Brummel farm, and then the corner of Jericho and 47, the White House there.
okay, but
Just
is there
those
going to
two
be
that
a
are-
roadway? Okay.
No. In fact, they said they would probably mostly remain out of the existing IDOT right away when we do the demolition. So there should be no lane closures, other than maybe a truck coming in and out, that's it.
Have you seen plans on how they're gonna address the drainage underneath the railroad tracks and how it goes down the
I saw the
mountain?
initial ones, but I haven't seen the completed plans. They're still working on them. Because they're trying to do all the utilities, the other utilities, the franchise utilities, and get them replaced before they finalize everything, so it's all still draft.
Oh, yes.
Quick question on the pedestrian bridge. Of course, I'm gonna ask about that. So, are we 9 months out from today for the fabrication? Or was that previously when they started
It
it?
was 9 months from when we approved the actual
Okay.
bridge, so probably like October, November, somewhere there, so
Yeah,
May-ish.
Mayish, okay.
Weather pending's been in the spring, you know, we can get in there and build the
Yeah.
road to get to it, to get the crane and so.
Okay, so Mayish, okay.
We haven't received any updates on it since the initial one, really, as far as the structure itself goes.
So hopefully it will be up for summer use.
Hey, you'll be at the ribbon cutting.
Like Christmas.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Okay, you'll be there. You'll be the first one across the bridge.
I'm the electric scooter.
All right. Anything additional for Brad? Michael?
Thank you. 2 notes on Sugar Grove Center. Cilantro is on the brink of opening. They're going to do a soft opening and then schedule a more formal grand opening in a couple of months. We'll help them with that. And then the 2 vacant spaces next to Subway. There's a lease with a vet clinic for Batavia. This will be their 3rd location. I've known them for a long time. They did a facility in Downers Grove when I was there. It's called True Vet. They do have to get a special use approval, so they'll do for the Plan Commission on February 19th. This will be a good addition to the community. I know the other vet clinic we have has a very long wait time, so I think it's something we need. It'd be nice to fill those 2 spaces. The Economic Development Department has taken over coordination of Food Truck Friday, and our first order of business is to secure the food trucks. And as you may know, Food Truck Friday this year will be held in conjunction with the same day as Movement and Grove, for 3 days in the summer. And lastly, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, CMAQ, maintains what they call their Regional Economy Committee. A lot of their planning that goes in runs through that committee, and they've invited me to serve as an economic developer on the CMAQ Regional Economy Committee. So first meeting is the stage there. That's our report.
Thanks, Michael. Without putting you on the spot, mutual development, met with Rob Coco.
Again,
Does he have a time frame? Is it a soft interest? What does that look like for him specifically?
yeah, I just met with him late last week. We're showing him sites. He's ready to go if we can find the right site at the right place.
And he's looking to do something similar?
Similar to what was done in the Shops at the Landing, where Jimmy John's is, and so forth, yes.
Thanks, Michael.
Sure.
Michael, the Dolan Murphy piece you're referring to, is that the northeast corner?
Terrible directions. It's the one right at Galena and 56, the smaller of the two pieces that we have.
On the east side of the road, though, I mean,
Yes.
across from
The other
Sellers.
side from.
That's correct.
Okay. And are you getting any interest at all in the property behind the Jewel where the office building is? I mean, there's a foundation in there.
Yeah, there's a slab already poured, over where Legacy is, Legacy Properties.
Oh, yes. You mean that the empty lot that's next to it for future development?
Yeah, there's a couple of.
No, there's been no interest in so far. You know, the office market is beyond dead right now, and so there's a glut of office space in the Chicago suburbs. Reported today is 39% vacancy rate for office space in the Chicago suburbs. So no one's building anything with office. I am pleased that the middle unit at 474 Division, which has been vacant forever, which is also Dolan and Murphy property. We've got a Batavia-based IT firm that's been relocated to corporate headquarters there. They've been working with our staff, and it's looking very good that they would move there once, and then they would do the build out because the space has never been built out. But for someone to buy property and put up an office building, they've almost got to have a credit-worthy tenant that's already signed a deal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just so you all know, I spoke to Michael, I think it was last week, about the prospect of coming and doing a presentation for you all as the process, right? The process that someone is going through and working with him from site selection to approval, what that end user is looking for, the search that they do on our demographics, the challenges we have. So he has that information, he knows what our challenges are. He always says they know better than we do as to what they need and want and whether we fit their criteria. So hopefully that's forthcoming here in the next few months.
The property on Main Street, that was going for the community funds, the reinvestment funds. I thought you were going to bring it back sometime in January.
Oh, you mean G14 Main?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them. They're doing some, to be frank, cleanup work on their site, and we'd like that cleanup work to be done before we bring it back, and they've agreed to that. So I'm hoping it'll be at the next meeting, but it's really on their timetable.
And also, he's been working on adjustments to the CPEP program, making sure anything that is code enforcement related is not a qualifier within the CPEP program. So I know I sat in a meeting with you in the end of last year, and you met with staff last week, so they're finalizing that before they bring that back to us as well. So.
Yeah, that should be the next village board meeting. We'll bring those criteria changes forward.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, trustee reports. Trustee Michael.
Nothing to read.
Thank you. Trustee White.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Lundy.
I believe Mario's gonna have a cleanup on the 25th at 9:15 at Bristol. And I'll be going to the library board meeting tomorrow.
Wonderful. Okay. Trustee Herring.
Nothing new to report.
Trustee Bonnie.
Trustee White, I meant to say something earlier and I forgot actually, but I do want to thank you as well for that for the Ag Sky. I know you worked pretty hard on that, is that correct? You assisted with that, and I'm glad that passed, and I think that it's a great addition for our community as well, and I appreciate the work on that, so thank you. I meant to say that earlier and forgot, I'm sorry.
Thank you. It was the result of actually trying to come up with something for the Blackberry residents to make the Crown property as minimally intrusive as possible.
Thank you. That's all I have.
And then it spills over into our community, which is great for the rest of us, so.
It really is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Under President's Report, just as an update, I know you read it in Scott's full report, but attorney interviews start tomorrow. So Laura, thank you for hanging in. I know you're moving on with other things, but I wanted to thank you for all your time and effort. You've been the only village attorney I've worked with, even as a trustee. When I came on board, you were here and you were pregnant, so it's been a while. But, you know, and then, yeah, it's been, so I've lived with her for a while, which I appreciate, and we're getting this done. Like I said, we have some interviews tomorrow, and then the following week will be board interviews, that you all will have an opportunity to interview the attorneys as well. So, excited for that, but sad to see you go and leave our meetings.
Is this your last meeting?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, but I just wanted to bring attention to it. It's
I was like,
coming
where's
to
the
a close.
cake?
It's coming to a
We'll
close.
Cake and coffee.
Right,
5:30.
there's the embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
No, we all have that stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, there will be embarrassing moments and cake, and maybe there's photos, but that's all I have for this evening. Thank you all for your attention and your participation in this meeting. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
First by trustee White, second by trustee Karen. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee White?
Nope.
Trustee Heron?
No.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2.
We need to show them this.